long time. Ba, 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 ba. Rocket Man. Blah, da, 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 ba, da, la, long time. I have decided, Laurel, can you hear me? Laurel, can you hear me? No. I think it's going to be a long, long time. Laurel, 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 Laurel. Laurel, can you hear me? Laurel, 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 Laurel.
What?
God, why did you answer me the first time? Why did you make me say it so many times?
Firstly, I muted the site because you were playing music, and I was trying to hear my raps.
Oh.
And then I have to mute it when I go on air because Paul pops in, and then it goes bang. And
honestly, now I don't remember what I even wanted from you. So I'll just go back to muting my mic. I got to go get some more water. Goodbye.
Good afternoon, 5 o'clock here at WDBO. Our top story, the Fed just raised interest rates to their highest level in more than 2 decades. The reason? Well, continuing inflation.
Another 0.25% rate hike by the Fed with the possibility of more later. This after the Federal Reserve kept rates the same at last month's meeting. They're saying the rate hike reason is simple. Despite the economy and jobs continuing to grow, the Fed still thinks inflation is too high, and they're raising rates to get inflation back under 2%.
A cargo ship hauling nearly 3,000 cars is burning in the North Sea, triggering a rescue effort to save the crew.
The freight ship called the Fremantle Highway was sailing from Germany to Singapore when a fire broke out. One crew member was killed. Several jumped into the sea to get away from the flames and had to be rescued by the Dutch Coast Guard. 23 in total were saved. Officials say some suffered broken bones, burns, and breathing problems. The Coast Guard said they don't know the cause of the fire, but a spokesperson had earlier told Reuters it began near an electric car. Salvage experts are trying to figure out what to do as smoke continues to billow from the ship. Jill Nato, Fox News.
It's 5:01 here at WDBO.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Jude. Hey, Jude. Hi, Diane. Laurel, you do an amazing job. I don't know if anyone's told you that lately, but you do an amazing job.
Thank
Diane
you,
just
Joe
told you
and
that,
Diane. So. Yes, I see that. Thank you so very much. It's very sweet. Hi, Jude. Hi, Paul.
So we have a lot.
Hi, Joshua.
Today's a very active news day. Hello, Joshua. How are you? I am so cold today.
I am really cold today, too.
I can't
Did they
shake
make
it.
colder in here?
I feel like they do. Hi, Elizabeth. I am freezing my tush
Hi,
off.
Elizabeth.
I already sent a link to Paul, so don't ask me that. I don't know where
I
Paul
won't
is.
ask you it.
Huh?
Hello, Chris. And I
Hi,
won't ask.
Chris. Ooh,
I think my hand's frozen. I can't click my mouse.
because you have Zaynar's disease.
Exactly, Zaynor.
What's it? Hang on, Raynaud's. I'm sorry. Did I just violate a HIPAA policy by announcing that? I think I did.
Now everybody knows my
Damn
hands
it.
and toes are cold all the time.
I learned that from you. I never heard of Raynaud's, and now anytime anybody displays anything like that, I'm like, oh, that's Zaynar's disease. I know that one. Raynaud's. It's got to be weird watching us on TV like this because we're on two different screens in two different rooms, and yet, like, you're right there in front of me. When in reality is
weird.
you're like two rooms down that way.
All the way that way.
Yeah.
I do have blue fingers.
Can you show us
sometimes,
your blue
Chris.
fingers? Chris wants to see your blue fingers.
They're not blue.
They're blue.
Right
They're
now.
usually white, right?
They're white. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they get cold enough, they'll get blue, but they're just white right now.
Hey, we're going to introduce a new segment to the show. We're going to introduce a segment, not just a new segment. We don't do segments, right? So at 25 after, and I think Laurel, I think we'll do this. I'm talking to you, Laurel, by the way. I think we'll do this both at 6:20, at 5:25 and 6:25. But we're going to do a segment. There's Paul Cross. We're going to do a segment called Here's What You Missed While You're at Work Today. So I'm just going to go over news headlines that broke while people were at work today. Okay.
I like that idea.
I do too. So I've got a stack of headlines here that I've already gone through that all broke while we were on the air. Or I'm sorry, while people are at work, not on the air. That's how my mind works.
Mary, so have some patience on your commute there. Also, I-4 westbound is bunched up into downtown as it is every day between Princeton and then on to the 408. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Fry.
Local news, national news, even feel-good news, delivering the topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Well, I started to mention to Laurel just seconds ago, I said we're adding a new segment to the show. And then it occurred to me, we don't really have any segments. So we're not adding a new segment to the show. We're adding a segment to the show because we don't have segments, right? So coming up at 5:25. Something we've created just for you, our listeners. What you missed while you're at work today. Here's what you missed while you're at work today. So we're just going to do rapid headlines of all of the stories that broke while you were at work today. Okay, that'll be coming up at 5:25 this afternoon. In the meantime, oh man, today is what we call in the news business a target-rich environment. We had a lot of news today. We learned that Hunter Biden did not plead guilty to the two charges he was facing in a plea deal that he had worked out, a sweetheart plea deal. The judge wasn't having it. So Hunter Biden ended up pleading not guilty. He was supposed to plead guilty as part of a plea deal. He ended up pleading not guilty. Plus, Joe Biden today doing what Joe Biden does best, and that is the excellent gaffe machine that he is. He today took credit for curing cancer. Now, I don't know if you know this, but cancer has been cured. Well, that is going to be great news for so many people around the globe as Joe Biden announces today that cancer has been cured. We'll get to that coming up in a few minutes. Speaking about octogenarians that are well past their expiration date, Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican, today during a news conference absolutely locks up. I mean, he starts a news conference, he's halfway through a word, and then he just stops talking. And nothing else comes out of his mouth. And you're going to be able to hear that coming up in just a moment, so stick around for that. Plus, and here I think is the big story. UFOs, unidentified flying objects, or what are they calling them now? Unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs. Unidentified aerial phenomenon, not UAF. Phenomenon starts with a P. Unidentified aerial phenomenon and alien life forms, or as they prefer to call them, non-human life forms, are real, we're told. Now, I want to start there. Do you believe that? Do you believe that aliens actually exist? Now, I want to play some of this for you from the hearing that took place today. Here's the report from Fox News.
Former intelligence officer David Grush, who claims he led the task force for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency looking into unidentified aerial phenomena, was asked under oath if the government has UAPs in its possession.
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
Grush saying at a House oversight hearing on UAPs, he knows the exact locations where they're being kept, and those locations were given to the Inspector General. He tells lawmakers the U.S. government became aware of non-human intelligence in the 1930s. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
So aliens have been around since the 1930s, where we are to believe. And we have known about them since the 1930s. More from today's testimony.
All four of us, because we were in F-18Fs, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible control surfaces like wings.
More again from today's hearing.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena.
Now I'm going to go on record again. I mentioned this earlier in the week. It might have been last night. I don't know. It all blurs together after a while, but I remain one of those people who believes that we are alone in the universe. I don't think there is any such thing as intelligent alien life forms. Could there be microbial life on other planets? Yeah, possible. But I don't believe, and sadly, I think we are the most intelligent species in all of the universe. Of all that is space and time, we are regrettably the most. I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud to say that we're the pinnacle, we're the best, but I believe that we are the pinnacle and we are the best. Of course, your mileage may vary. What do you think? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. Do you think we're alone in the universe, or do you believe the testimony today that we have been aware of alien life form and alien spacecraft since the 1930s?
If you think we are alone in the universe in this day and age, you are a very weak-minded person.
Well, that seems insulting. That doesn't mean I'm a weak-minded person. In fact, I'm very strongly have made my mind on this. I'm a strong-minded person. I don't believe that there are aliens.
Hey, Joe, let's think about this.
All right.
Aliens must be Republicans, and we are the illegal aliens here on Earth.
Huh, that's interesting.
So they send down soldiers every so often to check on us to make sure we're not coming up into their area anytime soon. They're worried about this Elon Musk fella.
So that's interesting. So from that perspective, what you're saying, and at first I thought you were kidding, but I think you were being serious there. I think what you're saying is that aliens are concerned that we're going to leave the planet. That we're going to go muck up other people's home worlds. And honestly, that sounds like a human thing we would do. maybe I have seen too many movies, but if there is alien life form, I could see aliens being concerned about humanity because we might well just show up and bring our human misery with us and infest and infect the aliens as well.
Aliens, really? Come on. Dear Lord, have mercy upon this country. It's bad enough that there are people out there who still believe that Biden is doing a good job. Now they want to go ahead and say that aliens exist?
That is what they are saying. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. Let's go to Linda, who's checking in from Claremont. Linda, you're on the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
So you are down for aliens, that there are alien life forms.
I am down for aliens, and the reason is my Aunt Annabelle, who was not an alien, but she was a longtime resident of Roswell, New Mexico.
Okay.
And a very long time ago, when I was a little kid and my mother was dragging me all over the West to visit various siblings, and we're at Annabelle's place, and for whatever reason, she's cooking or whatever, and out comes a statement that an alien spacecraft crashed here in 19 whatever the year is, and one of the aliens was still alive. At that point, I had never heard of the incident at Roswell. I had never heard of anything suggesting someone had any evidence that, gee, there's aliens out there and they have been here. And it was something about just a matter of fact, the way she said it. And she also said that the government decided to cover it up, but we live here and we know the truth. It's the casual, matter of fact way she did it. There's no doubt in her mind, and I'm guessing no doubt in the minds of the vast majority of people who lived in Roswell at the time. Roswell is not that big today. Back then, it's got to been a lot smaller. You know, one of those little towns where everyone knows everyone and everything.
And Linda, I'm not going to try to change your mind on this or change your opinion. In fact, I rarely ever seek to change anybody's opinion on anything. I simply state my opinion, and then I ask you to share yours and see where we can find common ground. But you have that much faith in, and I'm sorry, did you say it was your aunt?
Yes.
So you have that much faith in your aunt or aunt. That has always stuck with you, and consequently you have always then thus believed in alien life forms, intelligent alien life forms.
Well, once I started hearing about it from other people, it's like, this did not come out of her imagination, which I didn't think it did anyway.
So, and that's where I run into trouble, because the primary reason why I do not believe in aliens, and yesterday or day before, I touched on my Christian faith, that certainly complicates matters when it comes to the possibility of alien life forms, intelligent life. But the primary reason why I do not believe in the existence of intelligent alien life forms is because if this has been happening since the 1930s, I just find it entirely implausible, if not impossible, that many people could keep a secret for so very long. Now, that having been said, there are plenty of people who are talking today. So maybe it is finally caught up that the people who do have the evidence of alien life forms are finally feeling empowered enough to come forward and tell the, quote unquote, truth about alien life forms. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. And people with firsthand accounts, if you go back as far as Roswell, obviously the whistleblower type was talking about more than Roswell. But if you go specifically to Roswell, those people with firsthand info, they're getting really old and may figure, okay, I don't care who says I'm crazy. It's time for me to tell what I know.
Yeah, I get that. I understand what you're saying, Linda. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you called. And thank you for listening out there in Claremont. We really do appreciate that. I just saw a comment from Terry in our chat group. Terry says, I think I could do Joe's job. He's been watching me on the video. He says, you take your headphones off and then you put them on You move the microphone to the left, then you move the microphone to the right, and then you run your finger through your hair to look great. Yes, Terry, that's pretty much all I do. I think you could certainly have a job in radio, no doubt about it. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Or you can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Coming up at 5:25 in just a few minutes while you're at work today. We're going to cover all the headlines that broke while you're at the office today, be it if you were down in the mines today, maybe the great sequin mines, maybe you're out there on the factory floor at the widget factory making those things. If you're on the sales floor, if you're in the cubicle farm, wherever it was today, if you were working from home but you weren't able to listen to the radio or watch any kind of television news, we're going to have all the headlines that you missed today between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So this will just be news that broke between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., theoretically stuff that you missed while you were at the office today. And we'll have that for you coming up in just a couple of minutes, so y'all be sure and stick around for that. Let's go to Larry, who's checking in from the Villages. Yeah. Larry, you're on WDBO. How are you?
Well, that was pretty quick. I appreciate it. Intelligent opinions are based on scientific facts. If you look at astrophysiology and the space-time continuums and cosmology, you will see that there is no other solar system that has any structure as ours. It shows that no other planet has gravity, nor close to the energy source of the sun. Nothing. If we were closer, we'd be burned out. And there's also Venus and Saturn that hold the magnetic pull to keep all the meteorites off of us. We are one type of planet like no other. There's nothing like us. And people assuming that there is, that's where it's based the problem. There's no planet like ours.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that there are no aliens.
No, they can't.
They couldn't sustain life.
There is no planet out there that has the capability of sustaining life as ours. People should study before they open their mind to garbage.
Would you suggest that microbial life could exist somewhere out in the universe somewhere?
It's a really nice idea, but because of the gravitational capability or the sustainability of a sun being in their solar system at the close proximity to sustain life, that would need to be. That's the primary. But there is not one that's been found, nor one that they have set up within the solar system. Within the universe. I'm tired.
That's all right, Larry. Great information. Larry checking in from the Villages. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us here this afternoon. 844-580-WDBO, or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
I always love it when someone from the chat room or a listener lets us know that there's some traffic stuff going on out there. And Frank mentioned I-4 eastbound. He was by the turnpike saying that the police officers were rushing by him. I think they were just late for something. I really don't see anything on the screens here. We do have some brake lights there on I-4 eastbound approaching the turnpike. It even happens right there around Kirkman Road. I can't find any crashes or anything there, Frank. But again, thank you very much for letting us know that. We are seeing a lot of brake lights, though. I-4 westbound through Lake Mary eastbound. It starts at just past Longwood and goes all the way up into Volusia County for quite a ways because of the heavy rain that we're receiving there right now. As far as getting into downtown, I-4 westbound, it's heavy between Parr and the 408 eastbound is okay right now, but you are going to get lots of brake lights there, Parr to Lee. This report sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP, or visit mad.org. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
The Irish singer who took a Prince song to #1 has died. The Irish Times is reporting Sinead O'Connor is dead at the age of 56. O'Connor exploded on the charts in 1990 with Nothing Compares to You.
Two.
An aide says Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell felt lightheaded when he appeared to freeze during a news conference today. The Kentucky senator stopped talking during the Republican leadership news conference and was asked by colleagues if he was okay. McConnell was escorted away by Senator John Barrasso before later walking back by himself and saying he was fine.
One.
The Federal Reserve Chairman says there's still a long way to go to bring inflation down. The Fed announced a 0.25 percentage point increase today. Officials pushed rates to their highest level since 2001 while leaving the door open for future rate increases. Hi, Frank and Terry. I didn't get to say hi to you guys. Hi. I've had no caffeine today, so I think I have to go get my tea real quick before I start yawning on this video too much. No, you did try, Frank. Thank you for telling us. We would much rather you tell us and it be nothing than we missed something and everybody's like, whoa, we saw it. Why didn't you guys see it? So thank you. 16, Karen. Oh, yeah, I see 17. It's a party in here. Hi, everybody. Feel free to say hi in the chat. This party's getting bigger and bigger by the week. I love it. I got to go out and get lunch today because it wasn't raining for once. That was exciting. Because every single time this week I've been like, I should go out and get lunch. It's rained or there was a multi-car crash in front of the radio station yesterday. So that blocked me. Joe posted video of that on the social medias if you want to see it. He took his drone out there. Like, that's so nosy.
I need to hire him.
Yeah. He got some cool footage. He did, but some of those poor people are like having a bad day and Joe's hovering over them with his drone.
That's the way I feel when I'm in the chopper.
Yeah, sure.
You know, there are people having some of the worst days of their lives, and I'm up there going dee 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 dee, and I'm focusing the camera on.
Yeah,
you know,
right. You're like, sorry, it's my job.
It's difficult at times.
I can imagine. Long live the Empire, indeed, Patrick. Thank you. Yes, this has become my new favorite jacket. I had the other one, the Empire one on, and it's a little heavier. This is a lighter one. It's my summertime jacket. So it doesn't feel like summer in here. It's freezing in this studio. 22, 20. Yeah, oh my gosh, look, we keep going up.
This whole UFO thing
Go ahead.
is fascinating to me. It's just fascinating watching people testify in front of Congress. There are aliens from other planets. They are.
I know. I'm blown away.
It's like, this is wow.
We're adding a new segment to the show here while you're at work today. So these are the headlines that you might have missed while you were at work today. These are stories that broke between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. this afternoon. So whether you're in your work from home environment or you're at the office or on the road or whatever the case may be, these are the headlines you might have missed just because you have a job and have to put food on the table for your family. 7 major automakers say they will nearly double the number of fast electric vehicle chargers in the U.S. and Canada. Those 7 major automakers are BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz Group, and Stellantis. I'm not sure what cars Stellantis makes. Does that name ring a bell to you guys at all? Stellantis?
No.
I know I could Google it, but who has the time? Headline number 2, the Federal Reserve resumes raising interest rates with a 0.25 percentage point increase that'll lift them to a 22-year high. Headline number 3, Kevin Spacey, the disgraced actor, cleared of all charges after a 4-week trial on sexual assault claims in London. Where does that leave Kevin Spacey? Has he been acquitted of all charges thus far? Because I think he has.
I think so. I think he's facing nothing.
Both here in the United States and abroad.
Correct. Yep.
And by those accounts, does that mean he gets to start acting again? He's no longer canceled?
Yeah, for somebody that'll hire him.
Well, you know what follows a not guilty is civil suits.
That is true. That is true. He could be facing civil suits, no doubt about that. But it would be weird. I mean, Kevin Spacey, let's be honest. Kevin Spacey was a good actor. He's a good actor, but man, he's creepy. And I don't know that I could ever get past him being creepy ever again. While you're at work today, Irish singer Sinead O'Connor died at the age of 56.
Nothing compares. Nothing compares to you.
That was a big song that you might recognize from Sinead O'Connor. You might also recognize her from she famously or infamously tore up a picture of the Pope once during an appearance on Saturday Night Live. Headline, a crane collapses in Midtown Manhattan, injuring at least 5 people, including a firefighter. Amazing video, by the way. If you want to see the video of that, look for this story in the WDBO app. Hunter Biden's plea deal on 2 tax charges falls apart, at least for now, after a federal judge expresses concern over a related agreement on a more serious gun possession charge. Also, Rudy Giuliani admits that he made false statements in claiming 2 Georgia election workers mishandled ballots during the 2020 election. Next headline, Senator Mitch McConnell freezes up for almost 30 seconds while delivering opening statements at a leadership press conference, prompting murmurs of concern. And finally, a police canine handler who released a dog that attacked an unarmed black man in Ohio has been fired. The handler has been fired, not the dog. The cop has been fired. This dude had his hands up in the air, begging him not to release the dog. The cop released the dog anyway. Those are the headlines you missed while you're at work today.
This is WDBO.
WDBO.
107.3 FM and AM 580. Orlando's news and talk. And where Orlando turns first for breaking news, weather, and traffic 24 hours a day. Listen on the WDBO app at WDBO.com.
Good afternoon, 5:31 here at WDBO. Our top story, the Federal Reserve today is raising its key interest rate again by 0.25 percentage in the latest bid to cool off inflation. Inflation has been slowing down, but is still above the Fed's 2% target rate. ABC's Alexis Christoforous.
This is, if you're keeping track, the 11th interest rate hike from the Federal Reserve since March of last year, and it takes the Fed's key short-term interest rate to its highest level in 22 years. And perhaps even more importantly, the Fed left the door open today for future interest rate hikes.
The receptionist at a Winter Springs optometrist's office is accused of illegally using patients' credit cards to steal thousands of dollars.
Police say Angelina Mena used her own Square account to steal around $44,000 from 76 patients at McDonald Family Eye Care. The office first contacted police about a potential fraud case involving one of their receptionists in March of last year. She was booked into the Orange County Jail on Friday and faces several charges. Leo Vargas, WDBO 107.3 FM. FM AM 580.
A Los Angeles area man is recovering after a rare triple organ transplant. 46-year-old Valent Sams has a new heart, liver, and kidney.
I'm just thankful for another day, whether it be cloudy, sunny. Every day is a good day. Every day is my birthday at this point.
For the past 10 years, he had been in failing health, and doctors told him he likely wouldn't survive much longer. Now, after a 20-hour surgeries at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, doctors say his prognosis is good. 5:32 here at WDBO. Hi, Stephanie. Oh, gee. Yeah, you guys are the original gangs. Original gang. Gangsters. Not cool. I don't know.
So, Michael, when I get home tonight, I'm gonna put my drone up and fly over that. But there's a building collapse. Did you guys see the pictures I posted earlier on my Facebook? So there's a building right in front of my complex where I live. And I'm a nerd and I love to watch construction. I could watch people work all day as long as I don't have to do it. And there's a building that was being built, a cinder block building that's being built right in front of where I live. And this morning, as I pulled out of the parking lot, I looked at the building. I thought, wait, that didn't look right. I mean, because I watched as they were putting the walls up and they were putting trim up above the walls and stuff. And the whole thing collapsed. And yet there were, I should say, one whole wall collapsed and the other three walls seemed to have stayed in place. But people were still up on scaffolding. And I'm like, what the hell? You should not be working on that right now. I mean, you need OSHA out here to investigate before they clean up the damage, you know? So I'm hoping when I get home, they won't have cleaned it up and I can still get drone video of it. And Karen, if you saw drone video, you probably saw the drone video of the car crash out in front of the radio station yesterday. That video I just posted an hour ago or so. Nothing compares to you. I went to a new church on Sunday. We're auditioning a new church, and the congregation was much, much, much smaller than what I'm accustomed to. And so when they were singing, and then the music leader, oh, what's he called? What's the music leader at a church called? Well, anyhow, the music leader's like, okay, you sing. And I look around and I'm like, damn, there are not enough people here to sing. Damn it. That means I'm going to have to sing. And I'm singing and it is just terrible. Worship leader. Thank you, Chris. That's what the word I was looking for. Worship leader. And the worship leader was great. He was a great singer, but he turns to the crowd again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to sing at church on Sunday, something that I never do. Terry, the building that collapsed was a business. It wasn't even a house. It was a business. In fact, I think it's like a medical business. Nothing compares to you.
Just so you all know, if Joe asks a question and I answer it, he can't hear me. So you can jump in on that chat and type it up and he'll give you the credit.
And Karen, I wish I did. I wish, and I know how important the singing worship is. I know how important the singing part of church is. It's as important or almost as important as the sermon. But I struggle with music because I can't sing. And honestly, I don't like to sing. Can y'all not hear each other in the studio? Joshua, you are right. We cannot hear each other. We can all talk individually to you. But yeah, we can't hear each other unless unless Laurel hits a particular button. Laurel, you can hear me, right? And
Yeah.
Paul can hear me. So you guys
Paul
can.
knew the answer to your question, but you can't hear him. So
Yeah.
that's what that brought that up. Yeah.
Life is weird.
WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, 429 southbound after West Road coming in from Lake County. All lanes were blocked. They have just now opened them up. They've moved everything to the right shoulder. You're still seeing heavy delays, though, heading southbound. Rain still affecting speeds again here in northern part of Seminole County into Volusia County. I-4 very busy, especially on the eastbound side, all the way from Longwood to the bridge. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. At Staples, school savings are always in session, from art supplies and essentials to the latest tech, in stock and priced low. School on, save on at your local Staples store. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. In-depth segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
All right, if you're on hold, hang on. We're going to get back to our talk about aliens coming up in a moment. You're listening to the Art Bell Show. I wonder how Art Bell is doing these days, and he's finally vindicated. Art Bell seems, and then George Noory, both are vindicated. It would seem after all these years of alien talk. I bet I honestly don't know if Art Bell is still alive, dead or alive. Art Bell, do you know, Paul Cross? You think he's dead? Hey Google,
I think he's dead.
Is Art Bell alive?
April 13th, 2018.
He died in Pahrump in 2018. Do you know where Pahrump is? Pahrump, Nevada. It's right outside of Las Vegas. That was where he did the show from. Was Pahrump. All right, so we're going to get back to talking about aliens coming up in a moment. But first, we've got to talk about the breathtakingly old people who lead our government, the Octogenarians. And don't worry, we're not going to just pick on Democrats. We're not just going to pick on Joe Biden, but we'll start with Joe Biden. So here's Joe Biden today saying effectively that he's cured cancer.
Cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We ended cancer as we know it.
We ended cancer as we know it. Now, I think I can adequately speak on behalf of cancer. I think I have spent enough time with cancer that I can speak publicly for cancer. Cancer has not been cured. We still have cancer in our society, sir. The White House, by the way, corrected the president in the transcripts, which is what the White House regularly does. So here's what the president said.
Cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We ended cancer as we know it.
We ended cancer as we know it. The White House changed that to we can end cancer as we know it. So the White House makes corrections for the fumbling, bumbling 81-year-old president or 80-year-old president of the United States. Now, speaking about 81-year-olds, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell stepped up in front of a podium with several senators behind him for his daily news briefing. And you're going to hear a lot of silence here because Mitch McConnell just locks up. And you got to see the video. It's in this story in the WDBO app. The video is more striking than the audio because as Mitch McConnell stops talking, he doesn't like look down at his notes. He doesn't look down like he got lost in his notes. He doesn't look at a teleprompter trying to figure out where he is. He doesn't turn to somebody behind him. He just keeps looking forward with a blank look on his face. This is Mitch McConnell earlier today.
We're on a path to, well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Now, at this point, the Republican senators behind him realize, wait a minute, did Mitch McConnell just lock up? And so they start trying to check on him to see if he's okay, and eventually whisk him away from the microphone.
Wait a minute. Are you good? Mitch?
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say? Or just go back to your office. You want to say anything else to the press?
So one of the Republican senators says, Senator McConnell, do you want to say anything else to the press?
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
And then that's it. They just leave. He never said another word after that. He just trailed off and never said another word. Is it not time? Is it not time to get rid of the octogenarians that run our government? Do we not need fresh blood? 844-580-WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Paul Cross. That
was scary.
A very youthful
That was a
man.
scary video.
It was.
Yeah,
It was scary to watch, and I take no pleasure in it with either Biden or with Mitch McConnell. I think they both need to be in an old folks' home, eating ice cream every day and watching Matlock reruns. I mean,
I'm telling you,
we are
it looked
really
like he had a stroke. I thought I witnessed a stroke live on TV.
We're at a point where we're seeing elder abuse with all of these old members of Congress and, of course, our president. How's that drive shaping up?
Well, I'll tell you, 429 southbound after West Road, it's looking a lot better. They did have all lanes blocked from a wreck, but they've moved everything to the right shoulder. Traffic now slowly getting back up to speed as you make your way into Orange County. Still seeing some heavy delays. I-4 eastbound out of Longwood all the way up and over the bridge into Volusia County, and also very heavy on the 417 both directions over the Lake Jessup Bridge and into Lake Mary. 408 as well as you make your way into downtown. It starts on I-4 about par, goes on to the 408 eastbound ramp, and then you're locked up all the way to the 417. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. At Staples, school savings are always in session. From art supplies and essentials to the latest tech in stock and price low, school on, save on at your local Staples store. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Mike is checking in from the Villages. You're on the Joe Kelley Show. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Awesome.
Do you really think there's any money to be made in curing cancer?
Are you asking a conspiratorial question? Are you?
No. I mean, this is the same as, okay, if we came out with something to cure cancer, where's the money to be made? If we came out for a cure for diabetes, where's the money to be made? Well, if we can keep you to get buying the medicine.
Right. So would it not be made in a vaccine? What if there was a vaccine that cured cancer? I mean, would the drug maker not make a lot of money selling that vaccine?
I'm sure they would. Would you take it first?
Yeah, not first. Not after what we learned from the pandemic.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, again, cancer, diabetes.
In treating cancer, treating diabetes, but there's not as much money to be made in curing them. Is that what I'm getting?
Correct.
So do you think...
If your insurance is going to pay for it, why would they want to cure you? The insurance will pay for it forever.
So do you think then that incentivizes the higher ups, not the doctors in the field, not the doctors in the trenches, not the researchers in the trenches?
The doctors is already a nightmare. I mean, you go there for an appointment and you wait 3 hours. Does the insurance company get paid for you to sit in the waiting room for 3 hours?
I'm just trying to get...
Do you get paid your hourly rate to sit in the waiting room for 3 hours?
I'm just trying to understand what you're getting at. So are you saying that they are deliberately not curing cancer?
Absolutely.
And believe me, that
diabetes or high blood pressure or anything else for that matter.
Believe me, that has crossed my mind in the past. As someone who has had my own episodes with cancer, that very thought has certainly crossed my mind. But I go back to the alien discussion, and that is, In order for that to be true, you've got to believe a conspiracy. You've got to believe that multiple people are able to keep their mouth shut. And I find it hard to believe that multiple people could tell the same lie for so long.
If they get paid enough money, I think they would keep their mouth closed.
Paid enough money or threatened with death, I suppose, would work.
But they guarantee they have the cure. If they get cancer and they keep their mouth closed, they'll be fine.
Boy, that is really I can't prove you wrong, Mike. I can't prove you wrong, obviously, but I hope that you're wrong.
I do too. And just to let you know, I was on the show last Friday for your Truth or Dare.
You're Mike Gold.
It wasn't Truth or Dare.
Gould.
Yes, that's me.
Yes,
that's me. So I haven't got my shirt yet.
Yeah. Oh, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud in case.
No, it's okay.
No.
You guys are doing ground shipping. You got to save your money.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, just in case the boss is listening, because I sneak into his office after he's gone and I take a shirt out of his office and then I mail it to you. So don't say that.
Hopefully he's a large.
So don't say that out loud, okay?
No, I got the shirt. It was awesome. And I can't wait to play next Friday.
All right. Mike, I'm so glad.
Seriously, Joe, you guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing and keep pushing what you're pushing, because I think people like me really respect you in what you do.
Mike, that means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And that shirt is in the mail, I promise you.
And Paul, I know it's your week for your cat. I do remember, and I don't forget anything, but I hope everything goes good for you.
Oh,
thank you.
I forgot.
Appreciate it very much.
I forgot about the cat.
Now,
I don't forget anything. I'm like an elephant. I love you guys, Mike? And I really hope everything for Paul is better than the traffic right now.
It's just really kind of weird that you mentioned that, Mike, because this morning at 10 a.m. we had an appointment to put her down, and I canceled the appointment. So she is still with us. She's got more than 9 lives, this cat, I'm telling you. So it's amazing. It's amazing that you remembered, but thank you very much.
All I have to say is from Florida, from someone that listens to WDBO, and you guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here for everybody. Thank you.
You touched my heart, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And honestly, we do the show for you guys, and we always hope and pray and strive to make sure that it's entertaining to our listeners and that there's value to our listeners. And thank you so much for expressing that. We really do appreciate it. More of your calls and comments coming up straight ahead here on the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Still looking at really busy traffic here on the I-4. This is the corridor from Volusia County all the way to Longwood, and especially on the eastbound side. So I should say Longwood up into Volusia County. That's where you're going to find a lot of brake lights. The rain is moving kind of in a southeastern direction. So the 417 is now locked up both sides, north and southbound, between the 408 and all the way down to just about Narcoossee Road. You're just going to be kind of in a sea of red brake lights that whole way, and also on the 408 eastbound out of downtown. This report sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
The NBA is headed south of the border this upcoming season. The league announced today that the Atlanta Hawks and Orlando Magic will play in Mexico City on November 9th. This will be the 32nd game the NBA has played in Mexico since 1992. Close to 1/3 of the U.S. population is under a heat alert. The heat dome over the Southwest continues to break record temperatures. Triple-digit temperatures are also expected in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic this week. Speaking of, scientists warn ocean the ocean temperatures are approaching record levels in Florida's coastal waters. A water temperature buoy south of the Everglades registered just over 100 degrees. Experts say last week that water off of Florida's coast clocked in around 94 degrees, 7 degrees warmer than it should be this time of year. Did y'all see, speaking of the warm weathers, the videos of the orcas in the Keys? There's not supposed to be orcas in the Keys, but there's orcas in the Keys. People were commenting, they're like, they've come to get the Florida boats. Because they were tipping boats in Europe. They've come to get the Florida boats. They're going to tip them. It looks dark outside. Is it raining on anybody? I feel like it's going to rain here. I guess I have a weather radar. I could look that up, couldn't I? Terry, that's funny. Right? You'd think that they would know. I raised my hand so that the producer, because two things about my cast. I end my casts around the same time.
I didn't.
Hour, right? Well, depending on the hour. But so my casts are only supposed to be 90 seconds long during Joe's show.
I didn't think we were going to have weather this afternoon.
And the producer.
But we're really having weather. I didn't think we were going to have this kind of weather today, but it's nasty.
Anyways, I clip their ears. I press a button that makes their headphones clip, like pop, and then I raise my hand so they have a visual cue that I'm done speaking and they can hit the next element, the commercial. Hi, Rachel. Thank you for chiming in like that. That's cool. Thank you for still listening.
Can I say that I've got a friend who's a doctor that I shared that video with, and they... No, I wouldn't. No, I already got it.
When you talk to Ronald, you're talking to us, too.
I am?
Yeah. I mean, we can't figure out what you're saying, but we can hear you.
Oh, I'll just mute my mic then. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey, Rachel in Springfield, Illinois. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for listening.
Oh, yeah. I see that storm by MCO,
it's
Terry.
hot. No, I was cold. Now I'm hot.
Why does it look like it's going to rain outside?
Sorry?
It looks like it's going to rain outside.
Not looks like. It is finna pour.
Oh.
I mean, it's finna come a flood.
It's a mess right now.
Joe Kelley. Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
Hey, Laurel, I'm curious. What was that thing? Now, you mentioned that the water temperature was really hot down in South Florida, like 100 degrees, 101 degrees, which was like hot tub temperature, by the way. Well, what kind of device was it that measured that temperature?
A temperature buoy.
A what?
A buoy.
Yeah, boy. Like that?
Yes, like that.
That's what I thought it was.
You did all
We
the
have
work to get
gold teeth when we do that, though.
Yeah, boy.
all the work to cue that up.
I know. I went through a lot of work just to get that 2-word laugh there.
He set it up. You stepped right into it. What can we say?
All right. So if you're just joining us here on the Joe Kelley Show, we're talking about aliens. We're talking about our octogenarian lawmakers. And a friend of mine who's a doctor, I showed her the video of what happened to Mitch McConnell today. And she said that looks exactly like a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. It is similar to that of a stroke, but it only lasts a few minutes and it doesn't cause permanent damage. About 1 in 3 people who have a TIA will eventually have a stroke, with about half occurring within a year after a TIA. So that I hope Mitch McConnell is okay. But that was scary to watch that video today of him just absolutely locking up and not being able to say anything after that. If you want to see the video, and I highly encourage you to do so, just look for this story in the WDBO app. We're going to get more of your calls and comments coming up in the next hour, so stay with us here on the Joe Kelley Show. You can join us. We got a line open now at 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, looks like a lot of red, a lot of brake lights out there right now with the scattered rain and heavy rain in some areas, not just some light drizzle here. I-4 eastbound, very heavy getting out of Seminole County and into Volusia County from 434 all the way across the St. John's Bridge. Getting into downtown I-4 westbound, also really bumper to bumper, stop and go from Princeton on to the 408 eastbound, and then it stays really, really slow all the way to the 417. Then you've got the 417 north and southbound. That's where the rain's hitting hard right now, and that is locked up on both sides all the way from the 408 down to Narcoossee. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
WDBO Orlando.
My wife bought me this shirt. I was so excited. It is pretty neat.
Terry, quit calling me out. Oh, there's a kitty. Look at the kitty. Look, look, look. Aww. Oh, lovey-dove.
What? There's a kitty cat. What's that cat's name? I need to know.
Marie.
Marie.
She had a brother named Donnie. Donnie and Marie.
She had a brother named Donnie. They were Donnie and Marie.
Fair enough.
She's 18.
Oh, what?
18.
What a cute. What did
She's
you
on her
say?
8th life. Trust me. She's just been sitting here
18 years
meowing.
old? It looks like that cat's 18 days old.
Good evening, 6:01 here at WDBO. Our top story, the extent to which the Fed decides to raise interest rates again when it meets in 2 months from now will depend on job numbers and inflation data. And since there's no meeting in August, a lot can happen before the Federal Reserve's next meeting in September. Fed Chair Jerome Powell announced another quarter-point interest rate hike after their latest meeting wrapped up today.
There are some continuing signs that supply and demand in the labor market are coming into better balance. The labor force participation rate has moved up since last year, particularly for individuals aged 25 to 54 years.
Well, there's a growing trend of AI-generated influencers on social media. Fox's Bill Malugin weighs in from Los Angeles, saying that the trend is gaining popularity.
Many of these type of accounts continue to pop up all over the internet. AI women are also being used to deceive and catfish men. Daily Mail reports earlier this year, men on Reddit were tricked into buying nude photos of a, quote, gorgeous woman, only to discover that the black-haired bombshell was a fake. Now, experts say things you want to take a look for, take note on when determining if an image is AI or not, or take a look at the hands, look for any spotted backgrounds.
Another telltale sign of AI is blemishes in unlikely areas. It's 6:02 here at WDBO. Why would they write that end line for me? What does that mean? Blemishes in unlikely areas. This is what happens when I take a news story from Fox, ABC, NBC, and I don't proof it before I read it on air. Oh my gosh. No, Terry, I love you being a class clown. That's so funny. It's very funny. Keeps me entertained. Winnie, Wayne, hello. Stargate, good reference. Yeah, I get that. My friends in Lake County in Claremont, apparently lights are all out on 50. I guess somebody near the Miller's Ale House hit a transformer, and so the majority of the red lights on 50 are out, blinking. And a lot of the power, like Ellie Lou's and stuff, doesn't have power. Gators doesn't have power. So heads up.
And where was that?
It's all the way in Lake County. It's 50 in Claremont.
Yeah, I'm looking. There's a ton of stuff going on. I can't say everything that's going on because I'm just looking at it. It's just a lot.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. And it's a little out of our immediate range.
Yeah, it's still colonial. People venture onto it. But yeah, I'm seeing there seems to be a lot of medical emergencies right now. And I don't know if that's because of the rain or something else too. But
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I get it. I get it all here. I get everything from.
So I don't want to name names, but somebody just started an ocular headache, an ocular migraine.
Oh, no.
And that's me.
Have you had any caffeine?
Everything is like, no, I have not had any caffeine. Remember?
That's what causes me to have an ocular migraine is no caffeine. Okay, Chris, thanks for coming listen then, but have fun on your truck. Yeah, Joshua, that was weird. I hate when they give me those weird lines. Oh, me too, Karen. They're the worst. Ocular migraines.
580 Triple Team Traffic.
Yeah, we're just going to cover a lot of the red areas, and I'll do it very briefly. Both sides of I-4 here between Longwood and the bridge through downtown now, westbound and eastbound on I-4. The westbound side starts around Parr, heads onto the 408 eastbound, and continues all the way to the 417. 417 also very, very heavy, both sides between the 408 down in Arcousie. And then, of course, on the 429 southbound at West Road, heading into Orange County. A big crash there that has tied things up. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Connected to our community. Talk local issues and events with Joe Kelley. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let Joe know what interests you. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
You know, we make airline pilots retire at a certain age because we assume they don't have the mental acuity
to safely fly airliners anymore. We make airline pilots retire at a certain age. And I don't know what the current age is. What is it, like 65, 60, something like that? I don't know. But you get the idea. I would like to see the same for our elected officials. And I know that there's a wide variety. 67 years old. Thank you very much, Ronald. 67 years old is when pilots have to retire. I think that's a perfect age for lawmakers in the U.S. Congress and in the White House to have to retire as well. 67. I think that is old enough. Even though, Donald Trump is not my guy. I voted for him twice, and I may vote for him a third time if he's the party nominee, but he is still not my guy. But I will recognize that at 77, Donald Trump really seems to have the mental acuity of someone half that age. I mean, he does not seem to be in a fog all the time like Joe Biden does, who is 80 years old. But if you'd missed it, I want to play for you two clips here of octogenarian lawmakers who both had major gaffes today in front of microphones. First, Joe Biden claiming he cured cancer.
Cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We ended cancer as we know it.
We ended cancer as we know it. On behalf of cancer, and I think I can safely speak on behalf of cancer, it is not cured. This as 81-year-old Mitch McConnell, the senior senator, and when I say senior senator, I mean the senior senator from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, just went into absolute vapor lock during a news conference today that he hosted.
We're on a path to, well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
and that's it. He just locks up. He's still looking forward. He's not looking around. He's not trying to find his place. He's just staring blankly ahead. It's the 1,000-mile stare. The rest of the Republicans start to realize there's something wrong with this guy, and they start to usher him away.
Anything else you want to say? Or should we just go back to your office?
Let's go back to your office, one of the Republican senators says.
Go ahead, John.
Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
Let's go back to your office. Let's go back to your office. So they take him away. So we're talking about that. And then, of course, on the cancer issue, we're talking about whether or not people really want to cure cancer, as there are a lot of people who don't think that there's a vested interest in curing cancer. So we're talking about aliens. Oh, we're also talking about aliens. Sorry, I forgot that part. We're also talking about aliens. As today in the U.S. Congress, there was a hearing in which a couple of whistleblowers and experts said, yeah, there's definitely aliens. Not only do we have alien tech, but we have alien biology. We have biological beings that are not human.
UAP, crash retrieval, and civilian capacities. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
Reverse engineering program, taking apart the UFOs and figuring out how they work.
Well, whether it's aliens or not, I think someone dropped someone off from the mothership years ago, and they really need to come pick them up.
There's probably a lot of people that need to get picked up.
Daniel from New Smyrna Beach.
Hi, Daniel.
The aliens are a cover-up to keep the uninformed voter's mind off of the Biden crime family. Not a sermon, just a thought.
You know that, see, we keep touching on conspiracies, and yet I could see where you would come to that conclusion. Because it is rather interesting on the very, very, very day, almost at the very minute that Hunter Biden's plea deal goes to pot. Perhaps that's an inappropriate choice of words in dealing with Hunter Biden. While Hunter Biden's plea deal goes down the tubes, we've got witnesses testifying in the Congress that aliens are real. That does seem a bit of a distraction. Coincidence? or conspiracy. Again, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I could certainly see why some people do.
Hey, Joe, I think you need to think a little bit bigger about the aliens. Think about this. Space never ends. It goes way past our universe. It's infinity. I'll say it again. It never ends. So there's got to be aliens out there, and they're not microorganisms. And oh, by the way, those F-18 pilots, they're probably some of the smartest people on the face of this planet. They know what they saw, Joe. Think bigger.
You know, and I do give deference to the F-18 pilots. Naval aviators, Air Force pilots. I understand that those are some of the brightest minds and bodies that we have in all of the United States military, in all of the United States. And I absolutely believe that they saw something. Absolutely. I just don't believe they saw extraterrestrial life. I don't believe they saw extraterrestrial vehicles.
Joe, think about it. If we are the only species in the universe, that means Maxine Waters is not from another universe.
What was it, Men in Black, when they showed everybody who the aliens, it was like Michael Jackson and a bunch of others. Yeah. Look, I know that there are people that live amongst us that are so out there that we look at them and think, yeah, that guy's an alien. And I worked with a guy in Oklahoma once who, and I mentioned this before, but I worked with a guy named Andy in Oklahoma. And Andy was entirely convinced that aliens were real and they lived amongst us. And he pointed out everybody at the radio station that we worked with that was aliens. And then he described what kind of aliens they are. He was like, oh, yeah, that Dan is he's a lizard alien. And then Steve is one of the grays. And honestly, I would look at those people. I had a hard time looking at those coworkers again in the future because I was like, man, what if they are an alien? What if that's true? But it's just, I'm sorry, but it's just too. It's more than my brain can comprehend, I suppose.
We're full of aliens. Joe Biden's let almost 8 million of them into the country.
Not the same.
So, Joe, let's clarify about the cancer thing. Did he say that he cured cancer? Or that cancer was cured? Because if cancer was cured, what was cancer cured of? Because if cancer's cured, oh, wow, it's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, he says he cured cancer as we know it. Here, take a listen.
I cured cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We ended cancer as we know it.
Ended cancer as we know it. Honestly, and again, on behalf of cancer, I don't think anything has changed. Thankfully, due to medical research and scientists and dedicated medical personnel and doctors, we've made great advances in cancer treatments, but no cancer cures.
To say that there's no chance that there's other intelligent life in the universe, that's closing a bunch of doors. Think about this. When you see a light from a star in the sky at night, that light started off hundreds or thousands or millions or billions of years ago. We're just now seeing it today. That's history. Yeah, there's a chance.
Yeah, I get that, but yeah, I don't. I think it is a lonely universe. It's a lonely. We are alone in the universe.
Daniel from New Smyrna Beach.
Hi, Daniel.
What kills me is people think that a human embryo up until 10 weeks is just a clump of cells, but a microbe on another planet is considered proof of life.
Oh, no doubt about that. Yes, you're spot on. There's nothing more I could add to that.
Joe, to the last caller, he's correct. You can't make money by a cure, but you can make plenty of money in treatment. You can treat somebody for 20 years, where if you cure them at an early age, you've got no residual income. And the pharmaceutical companies and the congressmen and senators and everybody else involved is all in the take with their donations.
I don't know. See, here's the deal. First of all of the doctors out there, particularly the research doctors, the doctors who are, in fact, trying to find cures, every one of those doctors has an ego. And every one of those doctors would love their name attached to the cure for cancer. We learn about the name Jonas Salk in history books today because Jonas Salk cured polio. Now, I suppose one could look at that and say, damn, it's been a long time since we've cured a disease. Because how long ago did Jonas Salk cure polio? But Jonas Salk went down in history for curing polio. There is not a doctor on the planet, even if the doctor is a dermatologist or an OBGYN, there's not a doctor on the planet who wouldn't want his or her name associated with the greatest medical advancement in the history of mankind, curing cancer. And I just don't believe, I don't believe that there's some sort of government influence or corporate influence or the Trilateral Commission influence that is somehow going to kill those doctors or otherwise, cause them to be disabled or pay them off or whatever the case may be. I just do not accept that.
Hey, Joe, thing about cancer and curing it. I also believe that they have a cure for cancer, but it's not in their best interest financially to do it.
Yeah, but it's in a doctor's best interest to reveal it. And honestly, if a doctor cured cancer, if a researcher cured cancer, the doctor would want to go public very quickly with it, to make sure that his or her life was going to be protected. If, in fact, we believe that people are trying to kill anybody who cures cancer.
Good evening, Joe. I surely agree with you. We need new blood, fresh blood, fresh blood.
So at first I thought you were talking about the octogenarians we have in the Congress, but you sounded kind of passionate about fresh blood, and now I'm thinking you're a vampire. So I don't know what to believe, quite frankly, with that one.
Hey, Joe, it's John. If the esteemed senior senator from Kentucky is the bourbon drinker that I think he is, then perhaps he suffered from a bit of vapor lock.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit of the bourbon there. I don't know. More from today's congressional hearings on UFOs.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated. They are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena.
And I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. But there are, a lot of times the pilots are looking at it directly with their eyes. A lot of times they're looking at it through instrumentation. They're looking at it through radars, or they're looking at it through a camera that is mounted on the plane, and they're watching it through their dashboard, if you will, through the control panel. And there can be optical illusions. That happened there. Happens all the time. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Use the open mic in the WDBO app. My name is Joe Kelley. Look for the Joe Kelley Show podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, the WDBO app, and so much more. We'll continue straight ahead.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Lots of areas of slowing. We're going to start on I-4 going into downtown. I-4 westbound. This is from Princeton on to the 408. It stays bumper to bumper all the way to the 417. It continues on I-4 westbound from Sand Lake to 535 and then from 192 into Champions Gate. 417 also very, very crowded right now. This is from the 408 all the way to Narcoossee on both sides of the 417. This report sponsored by Wendy's Late Night. Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late night cravings. So give into what you want. Order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Now the
Footage of a Black Lives Matter protest has been quietly removed from Jason Aldean's latest video. The Washington Post was first to report that the video of Aldean's country hit "Try That in a Small Town" is now 6 seconds shorter than it was when it was first uploaded to YouTube earlier this month. Verizon is reassuring customers that the company has resolved an issue that caused intermittent call failures this morning. Outages were first reported around 8 a.m. Eastern. According to the data maps, the Northeast was the most affected, including New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia. The White House isn't saying much after Hunter Biden's plea deal involving tax and gun charges hit a snag today. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked several times about the case involving the president's son, but only said that he's a private citizen and that it's a personal matter. Hi, Jude. What we talked about in the first hour is what we're talking about now. We haven't changed topics, so we just got a lot to say about it. Beth, did I say hi to you already? Hello, Beth, if I didn't. Yeah, Joshua, that's true. If they had just ignored the song, that's how it is always, though, right? If people had just ignored it, it would have gone away. And then you shine a spotlight on it, and everybody and their mama wants to hear it, either to love it or to hate it. I don't know, Michael. That's a question for Joe. Let's see if he sees your comment. That's a Joe thing. That's why he doesn't join us in the customer commercial, I need more caffeine, commercial chats. Because he's over there screening the open mics. Sorry, Beth. I think you popped on just as he started the segment. I mouthed hi, Beth. But Joe was busy doing a show or something. I don't know.
Is it bedtime yet?
I know. I didn't even get coffee this morning. I had to clean up. The cat made a mess and the dog made a mess. And so I had to clean up all the messes. And by the time I was done with all that, I'm like, I don't have time for breakfast at all. I had to rush out the door. So this is my first caffeine in the day, which is dangerous.
I caught myself last night at 10:30 at night, sitting on the couch, still drinking my iced coffee.
Oh, no.
And I
Like,
looked
that's
at
not a great
my
idea.
daughter. I said, what the heck am I doing? I'm not even really thinking. I'm such in a fog. It's like,
Honestly,
well.
I know. I've been there for sure.
One of my favorite sayings is that it's been a heck of a week today.
I like that. Sure has. Apparently it's going around because when Ronald, our producer, first came in today too, he was like 20 minutes into his shift and he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even ask you how you wanted to do your casts because there's so much stuff in my brain going on. I'm like, yeah, man, I get it.
My brain's full. I get it. Doesn't take much for my brain to be full either. Ugh.
All right, Laurel, this one's going to be for you, okay? You're our chief pet correspondent.
Okay, yeah.
You like dogs and stuff like that.
Sure do.
So dogs, according to a study, dogs, would you say they're better off or worse off in a household that has children?
Oh, interesting. Dogs themselves probably worse off.
You are exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State University surveyed 21,000 dog owners as part of the Dog Aging Project and found that the presence of kids in a household was negatively connected to the dog's health. The more children or time that owners dedicate to their children likely leads to less time with their furry children, according to the study.
Plus, they're loud and they're stressful. I know kids benefit from dogs, but maybe not so much the other way around.
Well, and I honestly would have thought with more kids in the house, that's more people to play with the pets. That's more
If they do it correctly, though. But half the time they're grabbing the ears and they're taking the dog's food away and they're grabbing the tail and they're pushing the dog.
Dogs don't like that. I thought that's like playing with dogs.
Not quite. It's not how you're supposed to play with a dog.
Okay. So evidently either get a dog or get children, but don't get both. Okay. Another study. These habits lengthen your life by up to 24 years. Do you want to hear what the habits are?
Oh, boy. Probably none I do.
Yeah. So gosh, this is huge. A survey of 720,000 veterans uncovered 8 health habits that could extend your life by decades. 40-year-old men who practice these habits could add 24 years to their lives. Women could add 21 years. You want to hear what the habits are?
Yes.
Number 1, be physically active.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Well, you lost me on the first one. Never smoke. I qualify for that. A good diet. Not regularly binge drinking. Well, it depends on how you define regularly and how you define binge.
Right. Is it like multiple drinks in a day, or do you not like my nightly nightcap?
Right. Paul, are you currently destroying your health with a cocktail?
No.
Not currently.
No.
Okay.
No, not currently. No, I used to drink a lot more than I do now, but I'm still 0 for 3 on the first 3 you said. I'm dying a lot earlier.
I used to drink a lot more than I do now, and by that I mean like a few months ago. I used to drink a lot more. I'm not talking about like earlier in my life. I'm talking about like during the pandemic and shortly after the pandemic. I did step up my drinking quite a bit during the pandemic. Next on the list is good sleep. Oh, that is something that I strive for every day, and I never achieve it. I never, ever, ever achieve good sleep.
I'm still waiting for one that I can relate to. All of these I'm terrible at so far.
Positive social relationships is next. I've got positive social relationships. I love people. You guys know how much I love talking to strangers and people, and I've got a lot of friends.
You seem like the half full kind of guy. The glass is half full.
I absolutely am.
Okay.
Next on the list is stress management. Oh yeah. I don't think I manage my stress. The stress manages me, right?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I know. Hang on. No, don't walk away, Paul. Because I think
I'm dead next week.
I think the next one, the last one on the list, might be the one that saves your life, or at least extends it for a few years. Legit.
And you're going to make me wait for it, huh?
No. I'm going to give it to you right now. Okay. Legit. The last thing on the list is to be free of opioid addiction. Oh, all right.
Yay!
Yes. I am not addicted to opioids. Neither is Paul nor Laurel, so we've at least added a few months to our lives because we're not addicted to opioids. All right, more of your calls and comments coming up straight ahead. As they say, don't nobody go nowhere. We'll continue the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
This is WDBO.
WDBO.
Good evening, 6:30 here at WDBO. Our top story, another quarter point. Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell making the announcement this afternoon that the Fed's decided to raise interest rates yet again, the 11th increase since March of 2021. Powell said that while inflation has cooled, it's still above the Fed's target rate of 2%.
Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a moderate pace. Growth in consumer spending appears to have slowed from earlier in the year. Although activity in the housing sector has picked up somewhat, it remains well below levels of a year ago, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates.
The governor-appointed board overseeing Disney's special district is going after the deputies hired to protect park guests.
During a meeting today, officials said the previous board spent $8 million every year on law enforcement working overtime on Disney properties. Now the board is doing away with that spending, saying the cost of fighting Disney in court has caused it to have to find money in other places. There is currently a deal in place with the Orange County Sheriff's Office through the fall of 2024. Leo Vargas, WDBO 107.3 FM, AM 580.
Boeing is reporting a nearly $150 million loss in its second quarter. Despite struggling with higher costs in both its airline and defense business, the aircraft manufacturer saying it's starting to increase production of its two most popular airline planes, the 737 MAX and the two-aisle 787 Dreamliner. Boeing CEO David Calhoun says the company is making progress and improving stability in its factories and among suppliers. It's 6:32 here at WDBO. Oh my gosh, Michael. Our child almost killed our dog too. So I have a 13-year-old Boston Terrier who's brachycephalic, which is so are pugs. It means they have those smooshed faces, right? So they can't breathe real well. French bulldogs, English bulldogs, you get it. Smooshed faces, right? So she can't breathe real well as it is. That's just her breed. And she's old and she has a black coat. And my eldest left her out. This was like last year. Left her out in the sun somewhere between a half an hour and 40 and an hour. And it was one of those really hot days, right? And so we brought I was like, oh my God, that dog. She came in and she was stumbling and she was slobbering and she was vomiting. And I'm like, oh my God, she's sunstroke. And we rushed her to the ER. She's fine. But ever since then, we're like, you almost killed the dog. You almost killed the dog. Oh, children.
Where'd Laurel go? You disappeared for a second.
Because I was yelling. I turned into the Hulk.
Wow, that was cool. You're right, Marla. I did smoke once. I had 3 puffs of Marl Blurlero.
That is a horrible word for him to say. He can't say that word.
No.
Marl.
Okay. No smoking, no drinking, exercise, no opioids.
No opioids, right.
Okay. I just got to
Your dog
work on
almost
the
killed.
drinking.
Wait, your dog almost killed. Your kid almost.
The kid almost killed the dog, and I was saying how my kid almost killed my dog too.
Wow.
See, it's not good for the dogs. Though, I'm not against dogs. Families having dogs, so I get it.
Well, thank you for clarifying that you're not against dogs.
I'm not against dogs. I'm not against families with children's having dogs with children's.
My kids.
Nap time.
My kids are decidedly anti-dog. All 3 of my kids. Hudson, to this day, has never pet a dog in his life. He's never touched a dog. My kids, and it's like they
Does that
were.
mean the one from a year? Has it been rehomed?
No, my ex-wife still has a dog.
Oh, okay.
A boutique dog, one of those fancy poos. Aussie poo. But Hudson has never touched it. I mean, from when he was a child to now as 17-year-old, he's never touched the dog. And it's like they were attacked by dog as children, but they weren't. They don't have any negative imprints on dogs. But for some reason, my kids are not into the dog. Though Sierra is obsessed with the cat, Kitty George Washington. Sort of. You had a Virginia Slims, Michael. That's so awesome. I had a Marlboro.
I think he's going to hurt himself if he keeps trying to say that.
Marlboro bread.
I'm about to mute his mic.
Marlboro. Marlboro. Why is that word so hard to say?
Yes, somehow Beth, the 14-year-old, didn't almost kill the dog. The 20-year-old almost did. I don't know how that happened.
That's interesting, Beth. If you've been on opioids for 34 years, that is
Wow.
that is remarkable that you've been on opioids for 34 years. That is remarkable. Honestly, that's remarkable that you have found a doctor who would prescribe you opioids for 34 years. That's almost unheard of these days. That's right. That one cigarette is causing Joe to have a stroke. 40 years later. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. It was like 4 weeks ago.
107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, I-4 is still considered a mess there in the northern part of Seminole County. I-4 westbound through Lake Mary all the way down to Longwood, and then the eastbound side starts to get heavy just around Lake Mary Boulevard as you make your way up toward the bridge. Getting into downtown, it's a little bit better now, but still lots of slowing from Princeton to the 408, and then more delays, especially in the Paradise Heights, south of Popka area. Very heavy rain right now up there on the 414, 429, that area. That's causing a lot of delays. This report sponsored by Wendy's Late Night. Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late night cravings. So give in to what you want. Order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Breaking news to lively debates, covering the issues that matter to you.
I make it a point to listen to Joe Kelley when I need to fully understand what's happening in the news.
Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's news and talk, WDBO.
All right, Laurel, am I allowed to say that I don't like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know. He's pretty thoroughly loved throughout the world.
So I think he's a marginal actor. At best, marginal. I admire his dedication to physical fitness. There's no doubt that dude is very serious about being ripped. And I know that requires a great deal of hard work. But something that really, really bothers me about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the charity work he does publicly. And there was a big news story today that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made a donation to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation that is going to be able to help some of the actors and writers with financial support during this strike. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made a 7-figure donation to SAG-AFTRA. So when you hear a 7-figure donation, how many do what I do? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's $1 million. That's like $1 million. That's anywhere from $1 million to $9 million. They say it's the biggest donation ever made to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation ever. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And this is not the first time that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has very publicly done his charitable work. In fact, I remember he does a lot of it on his social media. He has a longtime body double or stunt double. They're just called doubles. Some doubles are just stand-ins for when they're trying to get the lighting right. Some are actual stunt doubles. But I would imagine it's hard to find a body double or a stunt double that resembles Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because that dude is big. He's really, really big. And imagine being a body double that you got to work out just as much and just as hard as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That would suck, because you're not getting paid anywhere near the kind of money that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is getting paid. But I do not like when people do their charity in public. The Bible is very clear about it. Matthew chapter 6. Watch out. Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you will lose the reward from your Father in heaven. When you give to somebody in need, don't do as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogues and streets to call attention to their acts of charity. And I know that's my perspective and filtered through my faith. it just bugs me. I wish Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't feel the need to have trumpets playing every time he does something good for somebody else. I admire him doing good things. By the way, I was talking about his body double. I didn't finish that story. So he bought his body double or stunt double or whatever, a brand new tricked out 4x4 pickup truck. And he did it all on video. I mean, Dwayne shot the video himself, showing how great he is in giving his body double, this brand new 4x4. Meanwhile, guys like Tom Brady and stuff, they give all, and it's hardly qualifies as charity. But there's a tradition in the NFL where quarterbacks give their offensive line, they give them extravagant gifts. And more times than not, we don't know what the extravagant gifts are, because generally the quarterback doesn't talk about it. Now, every now and again, the linemen will say, "Oh yeah, I got a new Ferrari from the Aaron Rodgers," or whatever the case may be. But it just bugs me that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson isn't a big enough star on his own that he feels he has to publicize his charitable work in order for it to have some sort of meaning. And that just is not the case. All right, back to more comments and calls from you guys. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Of the many discussions we're talking about right now, it's whether or not, as President Biden slipped earlier today saying that he had cured cancer as we know it. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't cured cancer, but it has led to a discussion about whether or not there is an actual effort to cure cancer, or if cancer is too big of a business to actually cure it.
Joe, I understand what you're saying with the polio reference, but how long ago was that? And how long did that take? Cancer, if it's cured, will eliminate billions and billions of dollars of revenue for those companies. They will not make it back in a cure, and they will not have that. They stunt research regularly when people get close to cures for certain things.
And look, I recognize that I might be incredibly, incredibly naive on this topic, or y'all are incredibly, incredibly paranoid. One of the other is true. I fully believe. I'm leaning towards the y'all are paranoid, but y'all are leaning towards I'm naive, and I get that.
The government paid to map the DNA genome, and all the information went to the pharmaceutical companies. They have the map the DNA genome to cure cancer. It's more financial incentive to give treatments than it is to cure it. Have a nice night.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
The earth is flat. There's no way out of the dome. There's no such thing as space. For all you guys out there that think space was real, you've been fooled. We've never been to the moon. It's just a luminary. It's just a light. You guys wake up, open your eyes.
Where did we go with that? Hang on. I think that same guy left a second open mic.
Here's another one, Joe. All those Starlink satellites they're putting up there, Elon Musk, that's going to be when they try to fool everybody into thinking aliens are real, because those Starlink satellites are going to shoot down holograms of spaceships. That's when they're going to fool everybody.
That guy should have his own radio show.
Mm-hmm. Right. We could call him Art Bell.
Yep.
And he could host his own radio show.
And then in 50 years, we're all going to be proved that the earth is flat.
Right. And honestly, again, I'm willing to entertain that I am tragically naive. And I'm also willing to entertain that y'all are tragically paranoid. I really think either could be true. But at the moment, I'm siding with y'all are all paranoid. Hang on. We'll continue more of your calls and comments. Don't nobody go nowhere. Stay right where you are. We'll continue. Coming up next.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, the good news is that there aren't many crashes out there, but the bad news is we're still seeing some heavy delays in many areas, including I-4 on the westbound side between Lake Mary and Longwood, heading into downtown from Princeton onto the 408 eastbound. The 429 here, this is really messed up. Both sides, both north and southbound, from Plant Street all the way to 414 Maitland Boulevard, and then 414 as well. So there's got to be a lot of rain in that area. I haven't checked the camera there, but I'm going to assume that because it just looks a mess on the screen. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Actor Kevin Spacey has been found not guilty in a sexual assault trial in London. He faced 9 charges in connection with alleged encounters with 4 men. Well, when the 2-time Oscar winner was in London from 2001 to 2013, Spacey could have faced life in prison had he been convicted. Two. Scammers are cashing in on Barbie mania. Cyber criminals have been taking advantage of the hype to launch a wave of online scams to deceive consumers. Software security firm McAfee claims to have documented 100 new incidences of malware with Barbie-related file names in the last 3 weeks alone. One. Several people are injured after a crane partially collapsed in New York City this morning. Video shows black smoke and flames about 40 stories in the air, and then part of that crane coming down and slamming into the side of the high-rise. Some of that debris fell into the streets below.
Okay. Now, Laurel, Paul, and I are all going to sing happy birthday to Stephanie. A 1, a 2, a 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephanie. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Woo! Whoop, 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 woo! Jeannie Durham, thank you for joining us.
Couldn't bring myself to
Which
join the
astronaut said
cacophony.
that? Do you happen to know a name? Give me a name. I want to look it up. What astronaut said so before he died? And who do you think killed JFK?
We're just going to hit all the major conspiracies.
That's right. We're going to hit them all. Ooh, I'm not going to lie. I am hungry.
Stephanie, does that make you a Leo? My birthday's in 3 weeks, and I'm a Leo.
I need food. I need food.
Yeah, girl. Leo, girl.
Good points, Michael Gray. You're always the smart one. Michael, you should have a radio show. Oops, now I'm cold. Yes, I go through hot flashes and cold flashes.
It's called menopause.
Yeah, I was going to say, he is getting to that age.
You know, it seems like in just a few months, we're going to be sitting here right now in the pitch black darkness, too.
She doesn't even live in
I
Florida
know.
anymore. She lives in Chicago. No, she lost her job.
I don't know who he's talking about either. I want to know the tea now. Who lost their job? Whoa, that was a big thunder boom. Dang, I'm not going to get out of here for like an hour, am I?
Well, the good thing is for you, Laurel, traffic isn't too bad on that 408 all the way into the Turnpike and 50. It's not that bad.
Oh, good. Thank you for that. That's a blessing. Now, if I can get out to my truck without drowning, that's a plus.
I should start a business like the movie phone used to be, you know? You call me up and go and just, you know, thank you for calling the traffic line. You know, for State Road 50, press 1.
That'd be smart. We used to have salespeople when a lot of the traffic was still in house. The salespeople would call us, and the producer, right? I don't know if it was sales. I can't remember. It was people from the other side of the building, right? Like the promo sales, whatever. And they'd call us for like their own personal traffic reports. They'd be like, "Why am I stuck on I-4?" I'm like, We're doing
I
stuff
get
here. We're
people
not
call-
your personal traffic line.
I still get people that call me and do that, right? Anytime. Hey, I'm going to be leaving in just a few minutes. I'm going out to Winter Park. What's traffic look like?
Right? Like there's
Google
apps you can
Maps?
look yourself. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Google Maps.
Waze, it'll tell you. It'll be fine.
Listen, I'm not your personal traffic guy. I can talk about it on the radio, but I like when people say, 40 years of me doing this, and you say, yeah, I'm a radio personality. Oh, really? Talk like you're on the air. Talk to me.
Always, every time.
I am.
I know, yeah,
I
pretty
am.
much. I always just
It's
do
like
my
a-
out cue for them. Laurel Lee, 103 FM and AM 580. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I know your voice. I know your voice.
Yeah.
You do I don't know, you might be too young for this. Some people remember Gary Owens when he used to put his hand up to his Gary Owens, and he used to do that voice that would just make it sound like a DJ.
Yeah, very pukey,
And that's what
right?
people
Yeah.
think that we do.
Yeah, yep. Thank you, Stephanie. That's very kind. Thank you.
Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
All right. If you're just joining us, we've got multiple tabs open on the Talk Radio docket. The Talk Radio browser here this afternoon. We are talking about the really, really old people in the U.S. Congress. You've got to see the video of 81-year-old Senator Mitch McConnell as he locks up for 30 seconds during a news conference, and ultimately people not quite as old as him have to guide him back to his office. Then 80-year-old Joe Biden claims to have ended cancer, which we know that is not the case. And then we're talking about aliens, intelligent life from outer space, and UFOs that are from outer space, from intelligent alien life forms that are non-humanoids. I think that's all we're covering at the moment. So you can join us at 844-580-WDBO or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Okay, Joe. So you're such a God-loving person and fearing person. Why would you think that he would only create us? This universe is pretty large. You would think that after he made such a flawed person, species, whatever, he'd try again. Come on now.
Oh, well, funny you ask that. So God is well aware that he made mistakes with the human race. God is well aware of the treachery of sin. You'll recall that God started all over again after Adam and Eve. When Eve took a bite of the apple, God stripped them of the heaven that they were living in. They were living in the Garden of Eden. So God threw out the original plan for humanity and subjected humanity to sin. Again, if you believe in the Bible, that wasn't the only time God wiped out the earth and said, let's start over again. The Great Flood would be another example. God only saved a handful of people, Noah and his family, and he wiped out all the rest. So I do believe in what you're saying, that God would try again, because God did try again.
Concerning this latest episode with Mitch McConnell having TIA, lockjaw, or whatever you want to call it, it makes it abundantly clear that we desperately need to put in term limits at Capitol Hill. I mean, look at Dianne Feinstein, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
This has got to come to an end to get these dinosaurs who refuse to retire back home.
No doubt about that. Get this one here.
The person that claimed that we know how to cure cancer, but they're not doing it for pay, acts like doctors don't get cancer too.
Yeah, doctors do get cancer.
Hey, this is Rob from Orlando. Look, as far as cancer goes, doctors die of cancer, scientists die of cancer, CEOs die of cancer, politicians die of cancer, nurses die of cancer. If there was a cure, do you really think all those people would hide it?
I don't believe all those people would hide it. I believe if there was a cure, it would be made available to the public. Maybe at a really steep price, but it would be certainly publicly known. I'm Joe Kelley. Thank you so much for being a part of the Joe Kelley Show here on WDBO. We'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon, 5 till 7. right here on WDBO.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
I-4 westbound still heavy through Lake Mary down to Longwood and then Princeton to the 408. We got a crash I-4 westbound before Princeton. It has also closed the on-ramp from Princeton. Then you're seeing more brake lights, Sand Lake to World Drive, and it's also very busy 429 up and down between State Road 50 and 414. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Thanks you guys so much for being a part of the show again tonight. And I think we hit our record high tonight, right? We had like 22 people at one point in the group. You know, we start small, we slowly build. But thank you guys so much. Tell a friend about our show. We would really appreciate it. We need all the publicity we can get. So if you've got friends and you think, hey, I'll tell them about the radio show they might enjoy, please, by all means, do that. Thank you so much, you guys. We love you very much. And we can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Mwah, mwah, mwah,
Bye.
mwah.